I call to order the regular meeting of the Lakewood, Colorado City Council of August 10th, 2015. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Murphy.
Here.
Shakti.
Here.
Kellen.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Wickman. Here. Paul. Here. Harrison. Quinn.
Here.
Coop. Here. Barraway.
Here.
Roybal. You have a quorum.
All right, and as always, I'd like to welcome everyone who's chosen to take part in our local government, either live with us in chambers tonight or watching us at home on Channel 8 or live streamed on the website. We have not a real long agenda tonight, but we have some really fun and important presentations that we're going to kick off with shortly here. But first, I'd like to ask that everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. As I walk down to the lectern, will the clerk please read item 4 into the record?
Item 4, presentation, the 2015 Colfax Marathon Government Cup.
Well, council and the community, once again, we have the opportunity tonight to celebrate one of this region's great events, and that's the Kaiser Permanente Colfax Marathon, the 10th annual this year. And as we keep saying, it seems like we say every year, it was bigger and better than ever. More entrants, more runners, more teams, more charities that were beneficiaries. And, you know, I think, obviously I'm a little partial to Lakewood, but I think Lakewood has embraced this event as much or more than any other community in the metro area. I think about the neighborhoods like Two Creeks and you know what they do with their water station on Colfax, Morse Park, our neighborhood, the same thing. In fact, our little neighborhood, the Glens, has been known to cheer the runners on via champagne brunch in people's driveways. I mean, anything we can do to help, right? You know, I think about Nina Rockley and Rockley Music and just almost countless bands that she has booked over the years to, again, make this really a joyful, joyous community event. I think about the Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design, who since, I want to say, 2012 has, again, embraced the start of a fairly new part of the Colfax Marathon, and that's the urban 10-miler. So once again tonight, we have the opportunity to honor some of the more successful competitors and teams, and to help us do that, I would like to invite forward two great friends of ours, and that's Andrea Dowdy, who is I'm going to get your title right, Andrea, the President and CEO. There you are. Of the Colfax Marathon. Please come forward. And, of course, our dear friend Jandell Allen Davis, who is Vice President of Government and External Relations for Kaiser Permanente, the chief sponsor of the race. So the floor is yours, and welcome.
Thank you so much. This is always my favorite time of year and one of my favorite presentations. I always say, I get Lakewood. Primarily because it is true. There are so many parts of Lakewood that have embraced this race and embraced all the runners that come through, whether they're running for their own personal goal or they're running for a charity. It's amazing to watch, and they always love the fact that they do go through the Glens and get oranges, or they go by Casa Bonita and get scared by gorillas or some other animal that happens to come out that morning. But it's been terrific. We really, really appreciate it. This was the 10th year anniversary. We're so proud to really bring forward an event to the community, and we always want to be true to the community and always want to have a lot of involvement, whether you're running, whether you're volunteering, or whether you're having a champagne brunch. We love all the involvement. So we have a few gifts we'd like to give to the city. First of all, for all of you, please remember us every day when you drink coffee. So we brought you some fun coffee mugs. And then we have a couple things for the city. First of all, we love to have an annual plaque that just displays the medal and reminds you that we are a marathon, so thank you very much.
Thank
We started this tradition. We decided we wanted to add to the decor in all the Lakewood city buildings. So we've once again brought a picture. I'm not sure if anybody's here from REMCAD tonight, but they have been spectacular in allowing us to really have so many, like 2,000 people, in their parking lot on Sunday morning. But they've been wonderful and wonderful supporters of the race. So this year we have a great photo again framed for the walls of the select city council person's office or for the main hallway. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrea.
All right, I have a third gift. This is really fun. Actually, fourth. I didn't count correctly. But I have to say, it's been terrific working with Mayor Murphy, and it's been great. The fact that he comes all the way from Lakewood on race morning and actually starts that race, welcomes all the runners to enjoy coming out to Lakewood, to really enjoy the fact that they get to go through, whether it's the Glens or really seeing a different part of Colfax that they haven't seen before. So this year, we just want you to have a really cool, awesome backpack. That's the 10-year legacy backpack. So thank you again for everything you've done for the race. It's been terrific.
Thank you, Andrea. It's been my pleasure.
And at this point, I'd like to turn the floor over to Dr. Jandel Owen Davis. I have to say, without Kaiser Permanente, we wouldn't be who we are today. They really keep us on track, not only to be able to have a race that we can actually have 190 charities partner with and really support so many charities, but also all their health and fitness and wellness messaging. And one of my favorites is always the fact that when you run in the race, we don't mind whether you're going for your 20 miles, now you're going to run a marathon, or whether you're coming from the couch and running a 5K. And we love the fact that Kaiser Permanente supports us and keeps that messaging really forefront as we move forward with the Colfax Marathon.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Mayor Murphy. This is always a pleasure. In fact, last night, looking at my calendar and my schedule, the thing that made me smile today was knowing, oh, look, I get to go to Lakewood tomorrow night and do this. I come, I try to make sure I'm available for this duty, which doesn't feel anything like duty. It feels like a total privilege. You know, events like this, Kaiser Permanente, we view this as a great investment for the city. And in fact, I was telling Andrea that earlier today we had a chance to review what's happened to this race over 10 years, which started as a pretty small race with a focus from the contribution of the charity perspective of raising money for the DPS. For DPS. I don't know if you knew that. Well, of course you knew it. It's your presentation. Of course you knew that. And now when we think about 190 charities, 18,000, I believe, runners this year. Certainly the amazing esprit de corps as we think about Lakewood, Denver, and Aurora, how we come out, and also international and national people who come to run this race. It's now the third largest, I'm going to see if I remember this thing correctly, the third largest race in terms of charities, dollars that are given to charities, and it's thought to, in terms of economic investment in the region, $2 million, our little race over 10 years. So lots for us to be excited about, and we, as certainly as an integral part of this community and as a health plan and as a healthcare provider, love the fact that we get to continue to have Kaiser Permanente and as be the title sponsor for something like this. In terms of the ways that we invest in your city, though, I thought I'd run down a few of those. We serve 600 members covered by Kaiser Permanente through the city of Lakewood, and we're proud to serve 12,000 members covered by us through Jefferson County School District R1. In 2014, we provided free care to about 2,500 low-income Lakewood residents. And in 2014, the Lakewood medical offices, which are just a stone's throw away from here, had about 3,000 Medicaid and Child Health Plan Plus members as well. So we're doing our part there as well. We also support other caregivers in Lakewood, including the Metro Community Provider Network MCPN, your federally qualified health center here. And we sponsor community events like Lakewood on Parade. And we support other organizations like the Jefferson Foundation, the Jefferson County EDC, the Jeffco Action Center. And in fact, early today, one of our summer interns, because we do take on summer interns, developed and coordinated a volunteer project for the Action Center. But today we're here back to where we started to sort of focus on the Government Cup. As I said, it's kind of cool to get to come over and sort of see what esprit de corps and, frankly, what competition we can get going among the different municipalities. And I want to point out that this is the 6th year in a row that Lakewood has a top team in the Government Cup Relay Division of the Colfax Marathon. It's a great accomplishment, and I have to give, actually I was told here to give West Metro Fire a little ribbing. I actually think it's kind of sad that they had to give up the golden nozzle to Aurora Fire this year. Gosh, now look at me. I'm sort of acting like who's my fave. Don't tell the mayor on the other side. Well, that's all right. You all will get it back next year, is what I would like to say and certainly think. But all that aside, I think it's great that the fire departments have this friendly competition and hope other government entities will do the same. And in fact, we need to get some of these, maybe get the Jeffco Attorney's Office later. We'll be presenting to them, and maybe you can get council representatives Barroway and Coop to form a team, and let's challenge other city councils. What do you think? Let's do it. What do you think? I'll run with you. There we go. Thanks again for your time, and I'm going to turn it back over to Andrea so that we can recognize this amazing team, and I will see you next year. I just know it. Thanks.
You're in charge of the money. I get the trophies. Okay. Yes, some hardware. It is great. It was the biggest year ever for the Colfax Marathon, which was really fun. But I got to tell you, these guys that ran, they ran fast. We had 1,100 relay teams, which is amazing. And your team is one of the ones that placed. So that's fabulous. When you look at it, we had 550 teams in the Corporate Government Cup, 175 in this division. So again, when we're up here awarding this team, they definitely were kind of cruising towards the finish line. And I shouldn't say cruising, I should say speeding along. I want to comment on one more thing about the fact that we can now give $2 million back every year to the state of Colorado in different cities and in different ways. Here's an interesting figure for you. Of the $2 million, $500,000 is the amount that the charities raise for themselves. And over 95% of those charities are right here in Colorado. So it's really amazing, and it's really fun, and it makes us feel good inside as well that we're not just a race, but we're able to give back to the community and to the state. So because we're talking about money and giving back, I think we need to bring up this West Metro Fire Department, folks. I've got, I understand that we have Dean Wall from West Metro Fire Foundation should come on up. We also have Chief Lombardi and Chief Kroll are here, so I'd love them to come up. I don't know if any of our runners are here. Oh, they're out training. But I want to mention their names because for those of you who are listening, it's really impressive. And if I say their names wrong, I greatly apologize. Mike Binney, Brandon Couvreau. I understand he was on that Ninja Warrior series, so that's very cool. Nothing like having a ringer in your department. Brian Holcomb, Aaron Johnson, and Tony Biscopo. So those were the runners, and again, congratulations. They placed third in the men's division of the Government Cup in a time of 2:57.57. Yes, the other two that were first and second were Aurora Fire and Denver Fire, so just throwing down the gauntlet to run even faster next year. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the bigger team at West Metro Fire this year, and that is everyone else who wasn't running. And this year, it's amazing. Dean Wall has had such a team of West Metro firefighters at the finish line giving out medals so that when you cross that finish line, you have that personal sense of accomplishment. You might have raised money for charity, but you got somebody in uniform giving you your medal, and it's just a spectacular feeling. And to watch the runners realize who's giving the medal, they're startled. They're just so excited that that's what's happening. We also want to thank the fact that Dean gets firefighters to help run a water station, and the fact that you guys put that ladder truck up at Sheridan. Again, we have so many fabulous photographs of really the impression and the impact that runners have as they run through. So without further ado, third place, 2:57.57. That's breaking 3 hours. Pretty darn impressive. So we'd like to go ahead and give the Chiefs the trophy since they deserved it, right? With the trophy comes money, and they chose West Metro Fire Foundation. I think Dean was pretty excited about that. He might have had a hand in that particular decision-making process. And $1,500. So we have the big check for the photograph and for the wall, and the check that goes to the bank as well. So thank you so much, and congratulations. Thank you so much. I went down to the training center today for West Metro Fire, and I got to say, that's really spectacular. No wonder these guys know what they're doing. I mean, that training center is fabulous. So, very fun. I also want to say one more thank you, and this thank you is really from the bottom of my heart. We have some great help with the police in Lakewood, and we've congratulated them before, but this year, once again, they really do so much for them. I'd love to bring up Sergeant Hoover. He and Bill Blackburn are just tremendous folks to work with. They really put together a great team. You know, it's funny because we can sit there in City Park and just know that Lakewood is taken care of and taking care of all of our runners safely. So many, many thank you, and again, we love the fact that we get to work with you each and every year.
You don't want to break your equipment.
I didn't follow the script. So thank you again, and thanks for letting us take part in your city council meeting today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You know, a few years ago, we had a council team.
I don't think we broke.
We did not
No,
break 3 hours. No.
No, I think they were probably all at home watching television with their feet up by the time we finished, but it was still great fun, I have to say that, especially being able to run on Colfax. It's just a really strange feeling, running on Colfax when there are ordinarily cars there. Anyway.
Well, and Adrian's here, so I think maybe next year you need to get a team put together. I know you guys are a little bit.
He usually runs solo because he's so fast. He doesn't want to have us slow him down.
You know, Andrea referred to the fact that I think for all 8 years of my term, I have been there at the starting line down in City Park, and that's got to be there by 5:30 in the morning, so you can kind of work backwards and do the arithmetic of when I get up and leave, and it's an amazing scene. As you just heard, 18,000 competitors this year. It is the energy, the enthusiasm. Is just remarkable. It's one of those, Dr. or Jandel, I should say, use the word labor of love, and that's exactly what it is for me, too. So thank you very much for that little token. I appreciate it. Enjoy your evening. Thanks for coming out. All right. Will the clerk please read item 5 into the record?
Item 5, presentation, West Metro Fire District's Rescue Seal of Approval Program.
And I'd like to invite back to the lectern the chief of West Metro Fire, Mr. Don Lombardi, and I believe Chief Kroll is going to come down as well.
Mayor and council members, thank you for having West Metro Night tonight. I appreciate it. We've had a lot to talk about a little bit tonight, but it goes back to community, and we talked a little bit about the community earlier in our earlier presentation and how important it is. And at West Metro Fire Rescue, it's an honor for us to be integrated with all of you in this great community. And Chief Kroll, our fire marshal, has been working on a project for quite some time that's been very near and dear to his heart. And we want to present to you, City Council here tonight, for an approval of our program that we're going to be introducing here in Lakewood and the rest of our district. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Deputy Chief Bruce Kroll, our fire marshal.
Thanks, Chief. And I thank you as well for sitting in and listening to what I have to say. This is an exciting idea for West Metro and for the residents of the city of Lakewood as well. So I'm going to go through the presentation. Please ask any questions as I go along. But what we've decided to do with the growing assisted living community, the assisted living population, is to partner with those facilities and the people that run the facilities to make this a better place. So that the population is growing. You can see in West Metro's area, there's 43 assisted living facilities and 15 nursing homes. That's quite a bit more than at least when I started 30 years ago. And so we have a lot more activity in those facilities. And so what we wanted to do, instead of just take the regulatory approach and do an inspection and say, here's where you're falling short, what you need to fix, we decided this is a big enough community that we're going to partner with you, and we're going to decide how we can help and work together to help you meet the regulations that make the facility a safer place to be. So you can see we respond, 229 fire alarms in the last 12 months and over 900 lift assists. So what a lift assist is when we go and help somebody up off the floor and they don't end up going to the hospital, they're not injured. Diana Delgado is the supervisor, the director over at Eaton Senior Living. She was going to be here tonight, but they've had a power outage all day, so she's dealing with one of the issues that we're going to talk about this program. She's been a great supporter, a great advocate, and an initial partner in this. So she couldn't be here. She sends her apologies. But on her behalf, the assisted living community, the providers, are a social model. They're not a medical care model. So they don't have staff, they don't have nurses, medical care people that are there to assess somebody that's fallen on the floor overnight. So that's where the fire department gets called, because we have the training, we have the mobility to go and check on people. So as the community has grown, our demands of going to those facilities to help out has also grown. So you see over 3 times a day we're in one of those facilities just to help somebody up off the floor. This is in addition to people that actually having medical problems and injuries. So a little bit of the background for the population. This is from the Census Bureau. Jefferson County is ranked first in the state of Colorado, having the most residents over 65. And you can see over the years it's projected to only get larger and larger. Anybody that's been watching the building in the community has seen that those facilities are getting built more and more. I think there's 4 of them in the planning stages right now just in the city of Lakewood. And that's anything from assisted living, independent living, memory care, dementia care, much more complex environment than it used to be. Therefore, there'll be significant impacts on the services provided. So the people that actually are injured, this is only information from St. Anthony, so the other hospitals in the area have statistics as well, but on their side of things, you're looking at 200 plus people that are actually injured. Now, anybody that has an older relative, that a fall can be something that's a short hospital stay or it can be devastating. Somebody at advanced age that falls and breaks a hip or breaks a long bone in their leg, it could be a catastrophic event. So anything from 4 days and somewhere around $20,000 for that stay, or a hospitalization of $35,000. So this is a community impact. It can devastate families, it can devastate bank accounts, just from the falls in facilities and the falls by the elderly. So what our goal is, between how many times we respond to the facilities and the people that fall, is to reduce those numbers for the betterment of the community and the betterment of the residents that are in those facilities. So our first idea is to collaborate. So we sat down with the facilities like Diana Delgado and Morningstar and a couple other facilities in the city of Lakewood and said, how can we come up with a set of standards together that is going to be viable? Because we can come up with a laundry list of things that are in the regulations and we can just say we're going to do that and we'll end up in the same boat we are in now. So we said, what can help you? So the list that I'm going to show you is something that we came up in a collaborative manner. What can we help them with, and what is going to help their program be safer? So we want to reduce the number of falls by the residents, reduce the number of calls, whether it's fire alarms or falls or injuries in those facilities, help them increase their compliance with the fire code, feeling that relates to actual fire safety in their facility, and increase their level of emergency preparedness, just like Ms. Delgado is prepared for today and having the power outage all day there. So the requirements, again, that we came up with this collaboratively is having an emergency operation plan that meets the standards of the state of Colorado. So we're not creating any new rules, and we're going to partner with them and sit down with any facility that needs it and go through a template, and here's how you create an emergency plan. Instead of saying, here, just create one and we'll tell you whether it's good enough, we will sit down with you and spend time to show you where do you fill in the blanks, what should you be prepared for, what's going to show the best stats to focus on. Then a fall prevention program is in place. And again, there's big corporate facilities that have corporately developed programs, and those are acceptable. But we're also available to help the smaller agencies that have a little more difficulty in coming up with the resources to create these plans. So rather than just inspecting them and saying whether they're good enough or not, we'll actually sit down and go through it with them to develop an acceptable plan. And I'll have a little bit more on that in a couple slides. Fire protection system inspections. This is one of the areas that most of them are doing already, so we're not creating a new requirement. We're just reinforcing the ones already there so that if there were an emergency in a facility, the emergency systems will keep it small so that we don't have to evacuate the building. We don't have injuries. We just have a little bit of cleanup, and it's only in one room. So those systems in a place that has a vulnerable community are paramount. So there's standards, national standards, in order for them to follow as the owners and how they maintain their own system, and then the things they have to contract for to keep those systems working. And just to give you an idea how simple that is, there's hardly any injuries or fatalities in buildings that are protected by sprinklers. 60% of the failures of those sprinkler systems are because the valve was shut off. So a program as simple as their maintenance people checking that valve a few times a week to make sure it's open will eliminate 60% of the failures. And we want to help do that. So we will help them with their training and their maintenance system, and then we already do the annual inspections, and we'll make sure that any violations or any safety hazards are cleared up. The state also does inspections to those facilities, and we'll help them make sure any violations in that area are cleared up. So those are the 5 we came up with in collaboration with those facilities. So our plan is already underway. The information is on our webpage, and our webpage is under reconstruction, so it's not as visible as it's going to be. To continue to work with our initial helpers, the Eaton Senior Living, Granville Living, and Morningstar, because they've been great. We've already mailed the letters to all the facilities showing them what the program is and inviting them to participate, and we're already assessing some of the ones that have applied. We're going to work with St. Anthony's Hospital, City of Lakewood, Jefferson County Human Services, who's already become an endorsement or agency for us. The state and other elderly systems to help endorse the program, and I'll tell you why that's important here in a minute. Then we're already starting to review applications and schedule visits. We're waiting a little bit longer before we get in contact with facilities, and we'll contact all of them personally. And then over the time of the program, we want to monitor a couple things. Is it making a difference? Are the things that we chose together making things safer? Are there less falls? Is there less injury because of the falls? Are there less fire events? And then continue to collaborate as we can grow the program as they meet the standards. We want to talk to the facilities about, hey, is there more we should be doing? Now that you have an emergency plan, now that you have a fall training program, what should we do next, if anything? So what we will provide is a checklist. So here's the things you need to do to get the seal of approval. A template to use if they don't know where to start. We'll help them fill out the template if they need that kind of assistance. We'll guide them into developing a fall prevention program based on the requirements of the CDC. A fall prevention outline so that their staff gets trained, their staff trains their residents, and then the fire system maintenance. And we'll help them come up with an annual maintenance program. So a little bit more about fall prevention, because it is a potentially devastating event. And these are items based on the CDC's guidelines. That the residents get evaluated for their medical condition, their medications, any modifications to their room that would help them from tripping over things at night when they need to get up. Access to exercise program. A lot of issues with people that fall is they're weak, they're deconditioned. So something simple as exercising in a chair has shown to prevent a lot of falls and a lot of devastation that occurs from it. And then looking at how the facility has policies, what happens if somebody falls. So if the facility earns a seal of approval, they'll get a plaque to display at their facility, because we want them to be able to be proud of this and show it in their lobby that we have met the requirements of West Metro Fire and a seal of approval. We'll list their name on our website, as these are the facilities that have met the seal of approval. So anybody shopping for some place for their family members can run across that website and say, hey, they have their emergency preparedness. They have their fall prevention training. They have their systems in place. A link to their website from the list that's on our website, and then a fall prevention program in a box containing those items that you can see on the screen. So we're going to offer the program to new construction applicants as well. We'll share the information with local fire departments and state fire departments. And that's another role that I have. I'm currently the president of the Fire Marshals Association of Colorado. A lot of state level interest in it, and I hope to take the success that occurs here in Lakewood and West Metro to something that can grow to a state program and can be endorsed by the state fire marshals. I want to share the program with CDPHE and encourage them to promote it to the facilities they oversee and continue to work with St. Anthony's. So like I mentioned, we'll monitor the number of calls, we'll compare the results, and work with the pilot facilities. And something that's important, and it's one thing I'm going to ask for tonight, is for the city's endorsement of the program, so we can put you on the list of people that endorse the program on our webpage. The reason being, the more attractive it is for somebody to use that for marketing, the more likely they're going to want their name on that list. And that's very important. So we've been reaching out. We have Jefferson County Human Services as one of our supporters. And the local assisted living communities are part of our supporters. The state fire marshals, state chiefs. We've even had response from the National Fire Protection Association, the Society of Fire Protection Engineers. So we want to make that list robust and meaningful to the facilities that provide the services, that they want to have their name on that list, and they're willing to work with us to comply to get their name on the list. And we feel that the more we get that momentum going, the more agencies will want to be part of that. To give you an example of why that's beneficial, part of their emergency operation plan, one of the most important parts of it is a relocation mechanism. So if there's an incident at their facility, they can move somewhere else. And that can happen through an automatic arrangement. So the more people that are part of the program, the more they're going to realize, hey, I can partner with the people that are already in the program. So what I would ask for is, one, that you take a look at the program, ask me any questions you have about it, and consider offering up the City of Lakewood as one of the people that endorse the program.
Okay, we appreciate it very much, and I had an opportunity to be briefed by Chief Kroll on this program, I think the first week in June, in preparation for a presentation I gave to the Jefferson County Aging Well Summit. So thank you for giving me a little heads up on that before that event. I'd like to go to Councilor Paul and then Councilor Johnson, and then we'll discuss how we'll handle the endorsement.
Fantastic. Thank you. I just have a quick comment, and I've been fortunate to serve on the board at Eaton Senior, and we are thrilled that we've been able to be a part of this, and it's a great program and a win-win really for both sides. So thank you for this, and look forward to supporting it.
Thank you.
Councilor Johnson?
Thank you. Commander, is that the correct title? Chief Kralls. I am in awe over what you're doing. I used to work for the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. I was a surveyor for long-term care facilities. And most recently, I was a discharge planner at St. Anthony's. And you are absolutely right. These falls are expensive, but once a parent falls, it sometimes becomes the domino that starts things spiraling down, not only for that person, but for the whole family. And as far as the nursing homes and assisted livings, I would like to think that all of us think of the people in them. They're all of our parents, and that we all have a responsibility towards them. I think your program is wonderful. I hope that CDPHE takes it farther and that they take your heed. It's awesome. Happy to support it.
Thank you. What we're going to suggest is we do a resolution that would be read into the record at our next meeting, which is September 14th. Is that suitable? Do you want some? Yeah? Okay. All right. Assuming there's consensus on council to support it. Councilor Wickman. Sorry.
Before you guys step down, great program. Good to see you guys. I know you've got some open houses coming up. We've already announced it, but I'm thinking this might be a good opportunity. You're on camera. You want to announce the open houses again?
I was just going to, as I was leaving, thank you, Mr. Wickman. We start open houses Wednesday night. The schedule is on our website. We'll be throughout our district. We'll be meeting with the community to go over our changes that we made, operational changes we made. We're looking at our future plans, and we're going to talk a little bit about strategic planning. So we hope the community come out. You're all invited. We'd love to have you there. So go to our website, westmetrofire.org, and the schedule will be on there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you both.
Thank you very much.
Great program. All right. We have a third presentation, and will the clerk please read item 6 into the record?
Item 6, presentation, Mount Air Park Camp.
And I would ask Peggy Bocard, who is our Lakewood Recreation Manager, to come on down.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. As just indicated, my name is Peggy Bocard. I'm the Recreation Manager for the city, and I get to spend some time with you tonight talking about a great program that we just introduced this past summer. In a few minutes, I'm going to have some support group back here who I think have been very well behaved so far, so I'm very appreciative of that. But in the meantime, I'm going to share a little bit of information about a camp and the park. So as you know, Mount Air Park is part of the 20-minute neighborhood implementation strategy that you approved this year on June 22nd. Through an extensive public input process, healthy living was identified as a key element, which the community defines as access to healthy food for area residents and employees. And so the opportunity to partner with Sprout City Farm came about with that, and it created the Mount Air Park Community Farm, which again was a result of the 20-minute neighborhood process. So the farm broke ground in March of 2014, and the very first year it yielded over 6,000 pounds of produce, which is pretty remarkable. And that food's distributed a variety of different ways, and it's included through shares, the Mount Air Christian Church Food Bank, Mulholm Elementary Backpack Program, and then a farm stand that's going to be operating this next year. So in addition, in that area within the park, the Two Creeks Neighborhood Organization submitted an MPP request for a shelter and to be added to the park, and the shelter, a new multi-sport court, 2 portlet enclosures were all added to the park early this year. And in addition, we have colorful, fun murals that you can see along the line, which was a nice addition for that area as well. So in short, the park's been doing really well, and it created an opportunity for us to take a look at how we can integrate a little bit more with that neighborhood, and in particular with the school. So with that, we started having some more discussions with the school, and just a little background on that. They have registered 494 students through K through 6. And they have a free and reduced lunch rate of 96%. It has English as a second language classroom at every grade level. And what we discovered was this past summer, they were fortunate enough to get to have some work done at the school. And so their summer school program was closed down for the summer. There was no access. And as we were already talking about different ways that we could do some outreach and try to increase some health and activity in that area, it presented an opportunity for us. So we gathered some different troops together, including the vice principal, who's here tonight, and some other community members, such as Pastor Rubin at the church, and did some brainstorming and came up with what we think worked out pretty well, which was the summer camp program. So what we did is we offered 2 3-week sessions. Each session was $10 per child. And anyone who needed a scholarship, that was made readily available as well. They had a free healthy lunch, which was a really important piece for us, because without that summer school program, a lot of those kids were depending on that lunch. And so that was one of the driving forces for us. And we had the Lunchbox Express, a program of the Jewish Family Service, there every single afternoon. And they made that lunch available not only to the kids in the program, but to anybody in the neighborhood. And I just got the figures of the number of lunches that they served today, and they had 696 lunches that they served within that time frame. So that's pretty impactful. We also just got a comment sent to us today from a parent who is not part of our program that talked about how important that was. She has a 7-year-old son, said things were a little tough right now, and that really made the difference to her. So we know we had some impact out in addition to the other activities that we did. So the half-day camp had all kinds of different fun things going on. We had interaction with the farm. The kids got to grow their own produce and have some hands-on. We had the library come and do some reading. We also worked with 40 West, and their artists in residence came out and did projects with them. We did a mural. They learned weaving. So it was really just a lot of high energy and fun for the kids. And to that, we ended up having 434 visits. So that was pretty impactful again. For a lot of kids, this is the first time they've been in any kind of organized camp. So we were there every single day out at the park to be able to have that outreach. But we couldn't have done it, of course, without the number of partners that we had. And it was remarkable. We did any kind of outreach. I went and did several different presentations, and the outpouring was remarkable. I was very proud to be part of this. And you can see the listing of all the different businesses, individuals. It could have been a financial donation. We utilized, with the summer and the rain, sometimes being outside is great, sometimes not so great. So we ended up having some backup locations for when the weather wasn't nice. And so everybody converged together to help support this, which was very much appreciated. And with that, we have some partners that are here with us tonight. Mulholm does already have a great after-school program that typically would run a summer camp, and it's a good to great program. And they partnered with us. They weren't sure where they were going to be. We knew where we wanted to go, and so we really converged at the end to just try to make it work the very best we possibly could for those students. And they're here tonight. So I'm going to invite all of them, but Terry Pankey, who's the project director for the 21st Century Community Learning Center, to come up and share a little bit more information. And while she's doing that, I'm going to get a video set up, Terry and Company, that we want to share that was taken about the camp.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Mayor, City Council, thank you very much. Yes, I brought my troops up here with me and the kids. My name is Terry Pankey, and I'm the director of the 21st Century Community Learning Centers grant at Mulholm Elementary and Pleasant View Elementary. So we are in the beginning of the 4th year of a 5-year grant that we have through the Colorado Department of Education. Both Mulholm Elementary and Pleasant View are Title I schools, and as Peggy mentioned, we have a 96% reduced and free lunch rate at Mulholm and a 92% at Pleasant View. So between the two sites, Kevin Bowles, who's my site coordinator at Mulholm, and I have another site coordinator at Pleasant View, we provide before and after school programming for about 700 kids. So every day at each site we have an average of 85 to 90 students after school. We have about 56 different programs that run throughout the entire school year. So we do 12 weeks of programming in the fall semesters at both sites, 12 weeks in the spring semester, and then we have an obligation for a summer program. So at Mulholm, they have an additional program for the incoming kinders and incoming third graders called through JSEL, the Jefferson Foundation. And that program it's very literacy based. It runs 6 weeks in the summer. My obligation is for the incoming 4th to 6th grade, and getting kids involved in the summertime at that age is like pulling teeth. So when we were faced with the possibility of, and then the end result of having no school for our summer program, I talked to Pastor Rodriguez. He told me that he was talking to Peggy, and I was talking to Emily, and we finally all came together and sat at the table, and this wonderful opportunity evolved for all of us. So it was very interesting, however, because when we're not at the school site, our population, our numbers are really reduced. Even though we were just only a couple of blocks away from Mulholm, there is still a little cautiousness, I would say, in the families bringing our kids in. But we were really, really happy with 30 kids, almost 30 kids, and it was an absolutely wonderful summer. And we've brought some of those kids with us here today. I'd like to ask them to come up. This is Nellie, and this is Jonathan. We've got Mason and Riley and Andy. Yes, they're here today. And so in our summer program, we started out the morning at the Mount Air Church. Pastor Reuben opened his doors to us, and so every morning I would go and pick up breakfast. An organization called My Kids Lunch through the Equal Hearts organization. It's very kind of, and the Colorado Department of Public Health. So I'd pick up lunch in the morning. I'd drop it off at the church. The kids would come in. I hired 2 teachers through our grant funds, and they provided about an hour and a half worth of literacy to the kids. They'd get their backpacks and water bottles, and they'd go on over to the park in the morning, and that's where all the real fun began, wasn't it? And it was just wonderful, and Peggy's going to show you a video of that. And
well, welcome, guys. Smile, you're on television.
Yes. And I don't want to forget Marissa back here and Jana back here. I mean, all of us, it was all of us really working together, and they did the hard work. You know, Emily was on site every day, Kevin was there, and it was just a very wonderful time.
It was a great collaboration. Sorry, I got a little jumped ahead of you.
So, yes, please.
Okay.
Keep a sharp eye out. There's a pirate and her crew chilling out under a shade tree here at Lakewood's Mount Air Park.
Goosey beat me to the corner, but after that, she rode behind me into town. And it was far. Very, ultra, mega, uber far.
Nothing like a little artsy-fartsy to help while away a June morning. These Mulholm Elementary students are spending part of their summer break here at a half-day summer camp created just for them and put together in partnership with the City of Lakewood and Mulholm's 21st Century Community Learning Center.
Count your luggage, count your toys, count your dirty clothes.
In Lakewood, we're really pushing to try to bring kids outside and play outside and be outside because it's Colorado and they should be playing outside. And so we really focus this specific camp on getting them outdoors, getting them out in the sun, using this really nice park that Lakewood has just refinished for us.
I like about when we do activities and games. That was my favorite when we do summer camp.
Oh yeah, grab them! Grab!
We don't, no winners, no losers. Everyone here is a
winner.
Everybody's treated equal.
I like it when, we do energize, when we run a lot.
Seeing kids that don't really get a chance to do these types of things have a chance to come out, have a summer program. They get, a ton of fun, new activities they've never done before.
I said a boom, chicka boom. I said a boom, chicka boom. I said a boom, chicka boom.
We've asked a couple of the kids what they did last summer, and a lot of them said, I was sitting at home watching TV, or I was playing video games, just sitting on the couch, not doing anything really. So we're giving them a chance to learn new games. We've taken them to the museum and the wildlife experience.
We do several different activities that have learning hidden in them, so they may think it's a game or they may think that they're playing, but they are still getting things like literacy or science.
Teaching us how to be creative.
Yeah.
And every day they have lunch provided as well.
They also get to do some urban farming at the Sprout City Farms garden adjacent to the park.
The farm is great. It's giving them yet another aspect that they probably wouldn't get anywhere else.
And they're also showing us life lessons that we can use later on when we're adults, like plant seeds and pull the carrots out and just keep harvesting like every summer.
Each kid has planted their own flower, and they got to choose their own vegetables and flower seeds to plant.
Those wind catchers, the students made them. It's part of a carefully planned mix of learning and fun, designed to stop any summer slide that might be starting to happen.
Each morning we start with a literacy block.
I am reading the second Percy Jackson book, The Sea of Monsters.
We read to the kids and have them do silent reading to try and keep them keep them a little sharper, a little longer to avoid the drop-off at the end.
I really enjoy playing with the kids and spending time with them and getting to know them. They're all so different and they have so much fun just playing outside.
And at least it's not all day, so we still have some time to goof around in the afternoon and stuff.
Yes. Kids have something they'd like to present to you. Mayor and City Council and Peggy. The kids made these tiles during their enrichment time at camp, and my husband, sitting back there so quietly, put them on this nice board for you. And so we'd just like you to accept our sincere thank you. So emotional about this wonderful opportunity that you've given our students at Mulholland Elementary. And I've never seen so much laughing and playing in the park. Usually after school, sometimes they're pretty tired, so it was good to see them so energized. So this project presented tonight to the City of Lakewood was designed by the students during their enrichment time at Mount Air Camp. The quote, "It takes a village to raise a child," was selected as the theme to represent this project because of the collaborative nature in which the City of Lakewood Parks and Recreation and the 21st Century Program at Mulholland Elementary came together and provided this amazing summer opportunity for our students. Thank you.
The last couple of presentations I passed along council. I'm not going to do that because this one's pretty doggone heavy and a little bit fragile. Thank you very much. Councilor Barraway, there were a lot of, we noticed a number of sponsors on that list. We also noticed some individuals, including our dear friends Randy and Maddie Nichols and yourself. So you have the floor.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I was surprised to see that. I just wanted to say bye-bye. Thank you for coming out tonight. You guys were great, very patient. Only saw one yawn in the last hour out of all of you. That's pretty good. Thank you. What I wanted to say was 20 years ago, my son played a baseball game at Mount Air Park. And other than the folks who came in to play baseball at that park, it was a fairly quiet, I think, underutilized park. And over the last several years, between Two Creeks Neighborhood Organization, the city getting involved, the 20-minute neighborhood, the community farm, everything else that we've done there, and the various groups that have collaborated, to see the energy now that is at that park between the farm, this camp we had this summer. I'm so glad that all those bits and pieces were able to work together and make this happen. The new sport court that's up closer to the street, everything there has just brought so much more energy to that particular location. just makes my day to see that, and then to see the happy faces on those kids from the video from this summer. I'm thankful to everybody who was involved with this process, and I look forward to, even if Mulholm is open next summer, I think we should continue to do a Mount Air Park camp for the summer. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you for your support. Councilor Paul?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank all those who were involved. You know, these are always great presentations when you bring in the kids, but it really puts things into perspective about the needs in our community. And while it was $10, which was fabulous that we were able to offer something like this at that rate, we still offered scholarships, and that's very telling. So thank you for all your hard work and to all these kiddos and their dedication. It's really cool. It makes me proud to be a citizen of Lakewood.
And one last set of thank yous quickly. This is a true example of collaboration. The government is working with the neighborhood and working with the schools and working with the nonprofit sector in terms of Sprout City Farms. And, we've got this group called the Lakewood Faith Coalition, and I see Pastor Ruben Rodriguez. We've heard his name mentioned several times, and Ruben's a member of the 7-person steering group of the Lakewood Faith Coalition. It's working, guys. It's really, really. I couldn't say any better than Adam. It's really cool to see. So, thank you. And one last thank you to Kit Newland. You must be very proud of this too, as our Director of Community Resources. So, thank you, Peggy. All right, on to public comment. I'll leave my instructions brief here. This is the point of the meeting where the public is invited to address council on non-agenda items. There's a 3-minute time limit when you come down here. It'll be the light. There's 3 lights on the podium. It'll be green for the first 2.5 minutes, at which time we'll turn yellow. That tells you you've got 30 seconds left. And then when it turns red, we ask you to wrap up your comments. Given that there's only 2 names on the list, I won't be vigorously enforcing that 3-minute limit, as we like last meeting we had to do. But okay, Suzanne Covington, please.
Good evening. Before I start my comment, I'd like to let you all know that I'm actually a shareholder of the Mount Air Park shares. And I will tell you, if you're not a shareholder, you should be. That stuff is delicious.
Nice.
I wanted to address the council this evening because at the end of July, I came home from a trip and I found in my mailbox a newspaper put out by the Lakewood Watchdog. And this newspaper had articles in it. There was no author. There were no references, and it was completely biased. Some of the titles were things like City Newsletter is helping mayoral candidate, or Mayor uses the city to promote his successor, and the City Council planning retreat is illegal. And I'd like to know if any council members know anything about who is distributing this misinformation. The bias is obvious. If I may be so bold, Councilman Wickman, you come across as the hero in both of the articles and what I looked at on the website. So I'm here tonight to ask specifically if anyone on the council knows where this is coming from. And I would also like to ask that the City Council addresses the misinformation that is on this website and that is in this newspaper. It's not even a newspaper, whatever it was that was sent out, a mailing. I'd like to ask that you guys address the misinformation and make sure that citizens like me and my neighbors get true information. We don't want misinformation. This is not Lakewood. Mount Air Park is Lakewood. This is not. It's not. And it's not appropriate for this information to be put out to the public. And if anyone on the council knows where it's coming from, it needs to stop. I'd also like to ask that the council step forward and make sure that the community gets correct information. We want to make sure that we get facts that have not been embellished and have not been twisted. As someone who works in the information business, I went online and I found what I could, and I went back and looked at council minute meetings, and I found that a lot of the information that's in there is not true. It is misinformation, but I have access to those things. I know how to do that. I don't know that my neighbors do. I love them dearly, but I don't know that my husband knows how to do that. So I do believe that it is the council's job to address that and make sure that we're getting the information that's correct, and make sure that we stay the Lakewood that I moved into and that I love, and that we don't participate in smear campaigns, and when they come out, we stop them as quickly as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Cindy Foster? Oh, okay. All right. Anyone else in chambers wish to comment? All right, with that, we'll close public comment. Ms. Covington, thank you for coming out tonight. I will tell you that many of us have spent a lot of time via individual emails, phone calls, grocery store aisle talks, responding to the misinformation, in many cases misinformation that's in that item that shows up in the mailbox. So somebody came to our last meeting and challenged council and asked us all to pretty much absolve ourselves of that, and all but one member did raise their hand. So I think everybody knows where that's coming from. Councilor Barraway.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say that I agree with what the mayor just said. We on council many of us have spent a lot of hours, as well as some of our staff members have spent a lot of taxpayer dollars having to combat the misinformation that is in that mailing. And I think it's completely inappropriate for somebody to go out there and try to stir up the pot in the city and cause dissension within citizens when there's nothing going on. And I think that's completely reprehensible. And the fact that the person who's responsible for this has not come forward and publicly said, this is my doing, I think is also a lack of courage. I cannot believe that this is going on in our community when we have such great things as Mount Air Community Park, things we just have talked about with our fire department, our police department, the various activities that go on in this great city. To have certain element in our community try to bring that down in the guise of news is completely inappropriate. As the mayor said, I know that on Nextdoor.com he has had to post several times about trash haulers. I have made several calls about density and charitable organizations, et cetera, and I'm sure that others on council have done the same. I know that Councilor Shakti posted something in one of her newsletters that went out to try to correct the misinformation. And thank you for at least taking the time to go back to look at the minutes. So it's kind of how do we balance the public dollar to combat this, because we've thought about the idea of having staff posting things on the website to correct it, but that's taking up, again, a lot of staff time. So it's pretty much fallen on the shoulders of the electeds that as we hear this, as we're getting it directly from folks who are concerned about it, we're doing our best to give them the truth. And usually the truth is there somewhere within our website or in our city council meetings. You can go back and watch these city council meetings on the internet via the city council's website. So you can go out and find the truth. But unfortunately, some people like to drop directly to something they got in the mail and they think it might be news, and it's not. So again, I'm disappointed that some people in our community think this is the right way to behave. But thank you very much for the courage to come up tonight and point that out.
And I'll just say one last thing. I've said at several public meetings. I think it's at the very least ironic that a publication whose byline says real transparency in local government is unattributed. The first issue was anonymous. That's not transparent, nor particularly courageous. All right, on to, will the clerk please read the items on the consent agenda into the record.
The consent agenda consists of items 8 through 10 inclusive. Item 8, Ordinance O 2015-10, declaring the intent of the City of Lakewood to acquire interest in property for public purposes for the construction of pedestrian sidewalk improvements and undergrounding utilities along West First Avenue from Harlan Street west to Newland Street, authorizing negotiations with property owners, acceptance of conveyance instruments, and condemnation of real property interests. Item 9, Ordinance O 2015-11, reserving onto the city for public utility easement purposes a 10-foot wide strip of land adjacent to South McIntyre Street within a tract of the Soltero subdivision previously dedicated to the city for park, open space, and drainage purposes. And item 10, approving the minutes of the City Council meetings of April 27th and July 27th, 2015.
Thanks, and I will quickly read part of the instructions. We have just a couple of first reading ordinances on the consent agenda tonight, and they're on that agenda strictly for the purpose of setting future public hearing dates and ordering the newspaper publication of the proposed ordinance. So we don't have any public comment on that tonight, but the public will have an opportunity to comment on them if they wish on the day that it's the agenda is set tonight by vote of council. So with that, I'm ready for a motion. Councillor Quinn.
Mayor Murphy, I move for approval of the council minutes, for acceptance of the minutes of boards and commissions, order all ordinances introduced on first reading to be published in the Denver Post, with public hearing set for the date included in the ordinance, all of which are included in the consent agenda items introduced into the record by the city clerk.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I won't open the public hearing. We can't really comment on it. So is there any discussion or questions from council? If not, please cast your votes on the consent agenda. And the consent agenda passes unanimously. General business. Anything under general business? Councillor Wickman.
I want to give a little heads up. At our next meeting, I'd like to introduce a motion, but in the meantime, like I said, I would like to put it out there so everybody can start thinking about it. I also got a lot of phone calls regarding the trash hauling, and we do know that next year we're going to be looking at some regulation of trash haulers. Evidently, there's been some semantics bandied about. People are using the word single trash hauler and things like that. It's creating some confusion. So with that in mind, I would like to introduce a motion that hopefully we can vote on in 2 weeks that help kind of clarify things. My motion would be that the City of Lakewood should not implement any rule or regulation that would interfere in any manner, with the exception of public health and safety concerns, with a person's right to choose their own trash hauler, unless there is, of course, an affirmative vote of the people at the next regularly scheduled election. So I will be making that motion at our next meeting.
That's great. That's fine. I do want to correct your premise that you led off with, that next year we're going to look at regulation of trash haulers. I'm not sure where you got that information, but we will. Well, as somebody said to me earlier this evening, if trash hauling is all anybody has a complaint about, things are going pretty darn good in this town. But I respect your motion, and here's what I propose. We will take this back to council officers. We'll kind of scrub it through the legal department to make sure we get all the appropriate language in there. For example, Councilor Wickman, there's no mention in this motion of whether or not those chosen trash haulers need to be licensed or not, and we have an ordinance about requiring that they need to be licensed. So that kind of thing, we'll just make sure it's all appropriate, and we will decide on the vehicle that we use to vote on that motion. And then, as you mentioned, we'll want to have time for some public comment on that motion. So we don't have any public comment at the next meeting, which is a budget meeting, and so we won't have any opportunity for public comment until September 14th at our next regularly scheduled meeting, and then we'll listen to any public comment on that. We'll publish the final wording of the ordinance for council to look at and the public to look at, and then we will take a vote on it.
You have to have.
Procedurally, we don't have an agreement from council officers yet that we even would want to propose, or even from consensus of council that we want an ordinance in place. I think that would be jumping the gun.
Well, this isn't an ordinance, it's just a motion.
Okay, the motion's fine, but in terms of an ordinance, I don't think that we have
I
made any
didn't
agreement.
say ordinance. It would not be an ordinance.
Okay.
It would not be an ordinance.
All right.
But it would simply be a motion that we vote on. And that's great. I look forward to that.
Okay.
Could I get clarification from
Sure.
Councilor Wickman? So a motion to vote on a resolution or an ordinance or just a motion?
I'm visualizing a resolution.
All right. Well, as I say, that's great. We're happy to take a look at that, get the correct language, and decide on the correct vehicle. And I think, given, I know, Councilor Wickman, you are always a champion for hearing from our residents, so we would want to do that. And we don't have a chance to do that until the 14th of September. So we'll hear from our residents then, and we'll take a look at it on the 28th in whatever vehicle our legal department deems appropriate. Fair enough? Cool. All right. All right. Any executive report, Kathy?
I
Okay.
do have an executive report. I'm excited to tell you about a new and unique relationship that we're forging with UCD, the University of Colorado at Denver. We're the first city to do this. It's called Hometown Colorado. And the advantage to this program is we get to take advantage of graduate students and give them real-life experiences working on city issues. And instead of us hiring a consultant or hiring staff to do work, we get to take advantage of graduate students. So it's a nice win-win. Like I said, we're the first city. This is a one-year pilot program. And we've, through the work of the management team, we've come up with 5 different projects for these students to work on. And we're lucky because now other cities have heard about this and they're getting in line to participate. So we're the first ones in. So here are the 5 programs that we'll be working on with the students at UCD. One is a local food assessment. To look at identify our needs and our gaps that we have as it relates to fresh food and produce in our city. Another project is conducting the master site plan for Lasley Park. Another one is our sidewalk inventory, looking for gaps where our needs are. Fourth is a green business certification program as it relates to our business community in the city. And finally, a community assessment out of working with our Community Resources Department, which really includes research and outreach to determine the needs, wants, and desires of our community as it relates to our programs and services related to community resources. That's something that we ought to do frequently just to make sure that we're staying in touch and providing the services that our community wants. So those are 5 really cool programs that we'll be working on with the school, the UCD. Again, it's a 1-year pilot program. And I've already heard from the Colorado Municipal League that they're real interested in this now, too, and they're going to start to sponsor it after us. So happy to announce that, and I'll let you know how that goes as time progresses. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right, on to reports. I just have one item. We had a very joyous afternoon celebration today. Many of you know the restaurant Chicago on Colfax Avenue, and many of you, including our friends from West Metro, know former West Metro Fire Board member Joe Margotti and his wife Luann, the longtime owners, the personalities who make Chicago what it is, a very wonderful place to visit and eat. So today, Joe and Luann Margotti were inducted into the Vienna Beef Hot Dog Hall of Fame. And I have to, it's a big deal. I mean, Vienna's a big company. I'm a veteran of the food business. They inducted 4 people, 4 organizations, 4 restaurants across the country this year into that distinct distinct honor. In any case, Joe and Lan were surprised. They were incredibly touched, and a lot of us and their friends were there to help celebrate them. It was kind of like a little surprise party for Joe and Lan. It was really neat. So thanks to Vienna for recognizing a great business and a great community citizen and community family that runs Chicago. Adam?
Yeah, I would echo that. It was a lot of fun, and Joe was somewhat speechless, actually.
Yeah.
So some of the West Metro guys came by, free hot dogs. It was a good event. It was a busy weekend, and I know there were a lot of folks who were doing different things. I was just going to touch on the trolley car, number 25. They ran it out of the garage and ran it up and down the track a little bit, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of great people out there, and to see the hard work that people have put into making that historic piece of transportation a treasure for all of Lakewood was really cool. So I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks. Shakti? Karen? Ramey? Dave? Tom?
I just want to mention I had a great time being the stage manager at the West Colfax Mural Fest on Saturday. It was great fun. Great to be back watching bands from the side of the stage like I used to do when I was the stage manager or the entertainment chairman for the Irish festivals. Like old times. It was a great festival, too. Really a great event. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Cindy.
I'm just going to tag on to Councilor Quinn. First of all, thank you to your wife, Carol, for putting together all the entertainment. There was excellent entertainment at the West Colfax Mural Fest. And a shout out to our former council member, Diana Wilson, who was the chair of Mural Fest, of our first ever. We look forward again next year. We think we had over 2,000 people who attended. We had great artists. Go look at the murals between Teller and Reed Street on 16th. They are fabulous. We have 7 new murals out there. Thank you to the Lakewood Bicycle Advisory Team and Campus Cycles for having a bike corral for us. I can't even begin to thank all the number of people who were involved, but definitely the groups West Colfax Community Association, 40 West Arts District, our police department for being out there as well, helping us out, and just the community in general. Everybody just came out and they had a great time. We really enjoyed it. We look forward to doing this next year. And Clark was there as well. Got a chance to try those food trucks. Some of the food truck vendors, it was either their first season as a food truck or it was their second day. Yeah, and they were all excellent. So thanks to everybody who was involved with that. And just a quick announcement that Councilor Coop and I do have our ward meeting this Wednesday morning at 7:30, and you can take a look at those murals if you stop by 1560 Teller Street. Thank you.
Margie, anything? No? Kathy? All right.
Mr. Mayor?
Adjourned.
Quickly say a thank you to Shakti. I think we all got homegrown garlic. Is that right?
Oh, nice. All right. Thank you. We're adjourned.